In this video, we're joined by Stacey, a former sales professional who now controls 25 units across multiple rent-to-rent HMOs, and even made £2,000 before even collecting the keys on her latest deal.
So now you have 3 rent HMOs. How many rooms?
25 rooms between them. You can start making money straight away. With my most recent deal, I made £2,000 before I even got the keys.
You took the HMO from the landlord and you handed it to a company.
She reveals how she built strong landlord relationships, sourced her tenants, and scaled her property business while planning her first hotel on a purchase lease option agreement.
It's a family that owns a lot of houses on the street, and I just deal with one of the brothers. We hit it off that one first time, and now he just brings me the properties first before he offers them to anyone else. We had 7 rooms to fill and it was fully empty. That's probably where the hardest work is, and then once you've filled in the rooms, it's smooth sailing from there. Now we're looking to purchase a hotel and a lease option.
Can you just even believe that these words are coming out of your mouth?
From mindset to negotiation wins and terms of service, this is an inspiring journey of property success and future plans for passive income and financial freedom. Enjoy and be sure to subscribe for future property success stories.
Thought I was going to be buying buy-to-let slowly but surely, and I thought that's what my 50s and 60s is going to look like. So now I actually have no idea because I feel like I've quantum leaped into the future.
So what would you do differently then if you were to do it all again? I'm your host, Patricia, and today we are sitting with Stacey Ondamu. Welcome, Stacey.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
Aww.
It's been a long time coming.
Thanks for being here. Stacey crews a lot of the time at the different events, so it's really nice to let her sit down and relax a little bit and share her story. And it's a good one, isn't it? So, Stacey, you joined the Academy 2 years ago, was it?
It's been over 2 years. Yeah,
over 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's probably been one of the best things I've ever done. I remember the £1 crash course that I went to. Me, my mum, and my boyfriend at the time went down, and I was so sure we're not going to sign up. We just kind of want to find out a little bit of information. It made me feel like I'd come across something that I didn't know I needed, because I knew I was going to end up in property. Just didn't know how I was going to be able to do that, but he made it seem so doable from wherever you started.
Yeah.
So I knew that I could get started straight away. So
that's great.
Never
So how
looked
did you even find the crash courses?
I think I was watching his YouTube videos online for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've always kind of been into property a little bit?
Definitely. I was always watching so many YouTube videos on interior design, like luxury Airbnbs, like the tree houses, that sort of thing.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So one day we'll get to that point.
My dream is the little tiny houses. Yeah, have you seen those?
Love those.
I know. Little tiny houses. They're kind of more American. In the UK, you guys have like static caravans and pods and stuff like that, which are similar. They're just like tiny estates. And they do so well, don't they?
They do.
Oh,
Americans do it best from what I've seen, but that just means that the upper market's here.
That's it. So you took the plunge. What made you take the plunge?
Just the information that he had. I was hearing him go over things that I didn't even know existed, like rent HMOs, what I do right now. I didn't even know that was a thing. So to be able to make money from a property that you don't own, you just control it and you can start making money pretty much straight away. With my most recent deal, I made almost £2,000 before I even got the keys.
How did that happen?
Well, we've got a grace period, and the landlord let me have access to the property, so I was able to do some viewings and get some people locked in before I actually had the keys.
Wow.
And then he was graceful enough to just let me keep the money because it wasn't going to make that much difference to him. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So how did you find your first deal?
My first deal, I did have a little bit of support with another property investor. So we found the landlord on open rent. He knew I had no experience, but this is the power of being able to really get in front of someone. Once you got that viewing locked in, you get in front of someone, then you can charm them and they can see what you're about and they can trust you that way. And he was able to see that. He said, I know you have no experience, but I think we'll be able to work together. And we've just not turned back since.
I know you have no experience, but he wants to work with you. Like, you must have really given some sort of great first impression.
Yeah.
Did that come from the training, or are you already like naturally confident and Can you close deals?
I'd like to say that I am good with people.
Yeah.
So because I've worked in sales before, and I'd like to say that I'm good with people. It's just about putting your best foot forward and making sure that they understand that you're going to look after their property and they can see that you're someone that can be trusted, and I think that's easy to do once you've had a lot of experience with people.
And so now you have 3 rent HMOs.
Yeah.
How many rooms?
So that's 25 rooms between them,
gosh,
and there's
that's a
2
lot.
flats in there as well.
And is it difficult to manage 25 rooms?
I'd probably say the hardest I found it was on my second deal, because the first one I managed to tenant that really quickly. I managed to rent it out to a company, so they filled all the rooms straight away.
Oh,
And then
like what company? Like a locations company or?
They deal with, it's a factory that deals with chickens in Bradford.
Okay.
And they house their own staff. They
Oh,
bring them in from the
perfect.
Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was pretty desperate because they had a property that fell through. They needed a HMO quick because the staff were moving in from the Philippines that day. So the landlord that gave me the property had the contact, put me in contact with them. The guy was pretty desperate. I did all my due diligence. It was legit, visited the offices. And then they pretty much moved in by the end of the week.
Amazing. So you took the HMO from the landlord and you handed it to a company and you're like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Wow.
It felt like the luckiest thing in the world. And because of that, my second deal was the one that felt a little bit harder because I was actually tenanting it from the beginning.
Okay.
So we had 7 rooms to fill and it was fully empty. That's probably where the hardest work is. And then once you've filled in the rooms, it's smooth sailing from there.
Mhm.
And now that we're at 25, it's not felt much harder than it did with that second deal. This third deal just felt like it was just like a really easy extension to what I was already doing.
Right.
So, yeah. And I only feel like that's possible because I've had a lot of support.
Yeah.
And been able to get on the phone to like a mentor at, like within 24 hours, less than 48 hours most times.
Yeah.
Really, really helps.
I know. And now I see in the portal that you can book in same day.
Yeah.
If you're in there early enough, you can get somebody, later on in the day. It's amazing.
Exactly.
Right?
Like if I have a question for a solicitor, like to be able to book that on the day, so helpful.
I know. I'm so glad that you were able to take advantage of the academy and you give back. You're an inner circle group leader for Leeds. If you want to come see Stacey, just send her a message on Instagram?
Yes.
Instagram?
You can reach me. It's Stacey Ondemu. Yeah.
I went to the inner circle Leeds, and that was the one time that Stacey wasn't there, but Craig and Dan were running it and they did such a great job. And so, yeah, just send her a message and she'll send you her guest pass link so you can come see Stacey in Leeds. So, okay, how many more of these HMOs can you take on? Or, I mean, are you just going to keep scaling or what's next?
Well, I was very unsure about this. I didn't know what I wanted to do next up until a couple of weeks ago. I did the graduation with Samuel.
Yeah.
And we sat down, we looked through the businesses and we decided that I need to focus more on my first business, not take on any more rent to rents, and now focus on purchasing things this year.
Ooh,
so we're
assets.
looking for, yes.
Yeah, girl.
Finally, where the juicy stuff is.
Yeah.
So now we're looking to maybe purchase a hotel and a lease option, much like how Similar did.
Can you just even believe that these words are coming out of your mouth? I can't believe that I'm hanging out with people that are doing this.
I know.
And so maybe purchase a hotel and a lease option. So what is a lease option?
That's when you agree on a purchase price, but you also agree to purchase it several years like down the line. That completely depends on what you guys negotiate. At the time, and in the time leading up to it, you have control of the property and you're paying the landlord rent.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a really, really easy way to get started because obviously most people can't afford to just go in purchasing a hotel off I can't get the word that I'm looking for.
No, I know what you mean, but why would somebody agree to that? Like, why would they say, yeah, okay, Stacey, you can buy it from me from 7 years from now? Like, why would don't people want to get paid then and there for that property?
Not necessarily. People have different reasons for why they're trying to let go of the properties. And sometimes you'll find people are advertising both. They're happy to either rent or sell and they are the perfect candidates because that's what you're offering. You're offering them that you're going to rent it from them and you're going to buy it further down the line. So it really just does depend on the person's circumstances, and there are many opportunities out there.
Well, that's great. And so what does your family think? You went to the crash course with your family.
Yeah.
And so are they going to join? Are they like, no, I don't want to do it? Like, what are they thinking?
They are the biggest support. They really, really are. I am so lucky. I have the best family. My mum is the first person to want to help out. I mean, they all do, but my mum is probably the biggest supporter. Whenever I need anything, she's the first person to be like, oh, I'll be there. Even if it's like a viewing, I'm like, well, it's not a 2-person job. She's like, well, I can still come. She's good. She's very good. I'm very lucky.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm really close with my mom, and she's in Toronto, so it's like so far away. But whenever I'm like talking about property, she's like, oh, I wish I could be there. Moms are the best.
They are. Does she get involved with the property side of things?
No. She just supports from afar, right?
Yeah.
So what else is happening then in terms of your businesses? So how would you get a lease option? Like, where do you find them?
So right now I'm working with agents that specialize in that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Got a bit of a list to get through. And then once that's done, maybe I'm thinking I'll just start contacting the hotels directly. But it's just as easy as finding them on Google, right?
Yeah.
And asking to speak to the right person.
Yeah.
Maybe even sending them letters like you would do residential properties. So
Great.
It's still early days.
Yeah. What has been some of the biggest hardships you've experienced?
I'd probably say one of the hardest things is when I'm not in the network, when I'm not being involved within the network too much. I think that was my first year I struggled with that a little bit because everything was a little bit further away. So I made excuses to not come down to the networking events every month. And then when I started doing it, I was like, wait a minute. Should have been doing this the whole time.
Right.
Should have been doing this the whole time. But Samuel's made it so much easier now. We've got events all over the UK. Hence why we've got Leeds in a circle now and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's probably been the hardest part for me, is when you're not in it, it's harder for you to really reap the rewards of like the network.
Yeah, it's so true. And I just got a call yesterday from one of the Academy members. They had finished their 12 months. And then I said to one of the Inner Circle group leaders, I'm really sorry, you're going to have to remove them from the group chat. And then immediately they called me. They're like, no, Patricia, wait, don't remove me. I'll pay right now for the renewal. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, welcome back then, right? So funny. Like the connections that we make in the Academy are so strong.
Yeah.
You're right. As soon as you're out of it feels like you're kind of alone. And you need to really get back in and get involved and stuff like that.
That's it. There's no other group like it. I feel like these are like my people. We think the same way. We like the same things. And I can't really have the same conversations with people outside of the Academy as well. So yeah.
Right. I know, it's true.
It's pretty special.
Yeah. And you have an events background?
Yes. Not the same sort of events. However, so I've got a business that's been going for over 8 years.
Wow. It's your own business?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It was literally my second job ever on the planet.
You were employed by one person. You're like, screw it. I'm going to run my own business.
Well, I got employed to do it by a good friend of mine, and I was doing it for his company. Basically, he run an agency where he would represent companies and charities. They would be positioned in high footfall areas like stations and shopping centres and try to acquire like new customers. You guys have probably seen those people all over. So we would just get them the permission to do that. And then he decided he didn't want to run his business anymore, and he didn't want to leave me high and dry. So he was a really good friend. He said to me, I think you can do this self-employed. I know I pay you this much, but this is how much you can charge. This is how you set up a company. And it was just like a quick 30-minute conversation. Off you go.
Wow.
And we never looked back. Yeah. It was the best. One of the randomest things that ever happened to me, but the best as well, because it's set me on this path of knowing that I want to stay self-employed, and I want to always carry on investing in myself, and, being able to fund this education I've been able to get with Samuel Leeds and stuff. All of that has come from that. So I've been very blessed.
That's nice. So, what are the main takeaways that you have to provide to the next generation of property entrepreneurs?
Main takeaways, definitely make sure you're around the right people.
The right people.
Yeah, make sure you're around the right people. And I've said that. Get advice, cherry pick the people that you want to get advice from. Yeah, because it's not all made equal. And if you can pay for the right education, I just feel like it goes a long way. When I first paid for this course, I remember thinking it was probably one of the biggest investments that I'd ever made for myself, but I would do it 10 times over every time because it paid for itself, number one, really easily. And the stuff that I've learned, I can just, the return on investment is infinite on the information that I've learned. Like now that I've got it,
it's there for you for
it's
life.
there forever. Yeah.
And you're right about the strategies. You didn't know what you didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So rent to HMO, lease option agreements, commercial, right?
Yeah.
Even auctions. I did the online training for auctions and they were talking about underwriting. Did you do that one?
Yes.
Oh,
really interesting course.
Right?
Yes.
And it's all these little like tricks that nobody knows it. And the people who know it don't want to tell anybody because they want to keep those to themselves, which I get. But thankfully, Samuel's just like, this is everything I know and this is how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, it's a godsend. He's godsend.
It really is. And the fact that he's providing, because obviously he's just one man, he's also providing a team of mentors that are so experienced in exactly what they're talking about. It's not like I'm not having conversations with someone that hasn't done it several times over. Like all of them are millionaires through property.
Right.
So it's unheard of, I think, when it comes to training.
I know. They really actually are so busy in their own properties and their businesses that they love coming here and mentoring during the 4 days.
Yeah.
But it does take a toll and they probably lose money on their other businesses by spending time here, right? But that's how much they love it and that's how valuable the mentors are. Right. So that's great. When was the last time you did like live training?
It's been a little while. The last time was probably maybe 2 months ago. Does it count if I was crewing?
You know what? It does because you're in the room, right?
I'm in the room the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm paying attention, but at the same time, I'm like, what's Samuel talking about now?
Yeah.
Because it's constantly changing.
It
I remember I
is,
did it when I did the live training. I was at the first time. He went over completely different information. He's constantly updating the way he's doing things, constantly, new information.
I know. I need to sit in more of the live training.
I know. I'll be back in May. I'll be back in the back of the room in May. So
I know. So, and how old are you? Can I ask?
I just turned 30 in January.
30 in January.
Yeah.
That's nice. Big milestone.
It is a big one.
Yeah.
It is. I struggled with it at first, but it is what it is now. We accept it.
Aw, well, you look sensational.
I'm joking.
And so what are you going to do when you're like 60? Like what does 60-year-old Stacey look like?
Do you know, I have no idea. Since coming
You'll probably look the same, by the way.
hopefully. But since coming across Samuel, I feel like I thought I was going to be buying buy-to-let slowly but surely, like working on my business, using the money that I make through that to slowly buy buy-to-lets. And I thought that's what my 50s and 60s is going to look like. So now I actually have no idea because I feel like I've quantum leaped into the future a little bit to be able to be doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So no idea. I think it's going to look really positive, but it could look like anything.
How much planning do you need to do for your businesses to scale? Like, do you sit down and do you think about these things? Like, what are your goals for the next 3 months, 6 months, 2 years?
Well, with my events business, we actually sat down to have some discussions about this the other day with my business partner. Yeah, it's early days, but we need to implement things like just booking things further in advance. We hired someone before that was really difficult, and I spoke to Samuel about that, and he gave me better advice about that. So, with the way we'd hired someone, it was very draining because I was giving them too much of my time. But he taught me that I need to be creating a manual that they could use. So, like the best thing about Samuel is literally that he's happy to advise on even my other business when it's really nothing to do with the property stuff that I'm really here for.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning when it comes to that side of things. I know we're talking about scaling, but I'm still figuring it out as I go.
Mm-hmm. So what would you do differently then if you were to do it all again?
I would invest my money better, because when I first started my business, I didn't have any financial literacy at all.
Most of us don't. They don't teach that to us,
None
right?
at all, yeah. So I mean, it's still a blessing. I don't regret the way that I carried on. However, if I was to do it again, I would definitely invest a lot of that money instead of just spending it on the things that I was spending it on.
Great. So invest more wisely.
Yeah.
Cut down on the things that didn't matter.
Understand that things are happening on your own timeline, so you can't really compare with people too much. And what's the last thing that I had to change?
When you talk about comparing yourself, because that is definitely a difficult thing. So what kind of advice could you give somebody to help them not compare themselves negatively to other people?
Yeah, just literally focus on your own situation. And I know that's what everyone says, but I really felt like I really feel like it's so easy to compare, especially when you come into academy and everyone is winning in so many different ways. It's so easy to try and stop and compare yourself. However, there's no sense in doing that, because everybody's journey is slightly different. What you're doing doesn't necessarily have to look like everybody else's journey. I'm not even making sense.
No, you are, definitely. What's the best part about being an inner circle group leader?
I feel like it makes networking so much easier. I mean, I know that I think I'm good with people anyway. However, it makes networking, it's like a little hack for networking, because people kind of know who you are before you know who they are.
Yeah.
And it's just easier to get your name out there. Especially because it's easier for me to like bring value to people as well, in that way.
Yeah, and it's a fun venue you have as well, right?
Yeah, it is, to be able to have the same date booked in the diary every single month, and know that I'm going to be seeing the same faces. Having really cool guest speakers come along. I'm able to learn at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with the academy, with the dinners and stuff like that, do you tend to sit with the same people, or do you go out and purposely meet new people at the dinners?
Do you know what? In the beginning, I definitely did try to sit with the same people, but I think it's impossible now, because the rooms. I've never been to networking events like the networking dinners that you guys hold.
What do you mean?
They're huge. They're so busy, and the fact that I can come every month and I'll never have a chance to speak to everybody that I want to speak to, because you see the same faces, so you recognize people. Loads. I never end up sitting with the same person, like you said,
which is great, right? Because there's so many people to meet, and then you're constantly like going around, and people probably grab you because you're an inner circle group leader, and they stop you and they'll be like, "Oh, I was just there." Were you at the quarterly meeting that we had last Friday?
Yeah.
Yes. So we're gonna get like different colored badges or pins, just so you guys can stand out from the hundreds of other people, and people will know that you're an inner circle group leader, so they can go right up to you and be like, "Oh, what's that all about? And how do I book on?" and all that stuff. So you'll be more visible at these events and stuff. Do you go on Monday Night Mastermind regularly?
Every Monday.
Oh, yes.
Every
Love
Monday,
it, right?
yes.
It's so good.
It's so it's amazing, because there's always somebody going through something that I'm going to learn from constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I can't really miss them.
Yeah. I was talking to one of the academy members, and they said that they weren't doing anything, so they didn't feel like they deserved to be on Monday Night Mastermind.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. What would you say to somebody who feels like that?
You've paid your money to be there. You deserve to be there.
There
we want you there.
They want you there.
We want you there.
Yeah.
And the only way that you wouldn't deserve to be there is if you were refusing to show up. Like, you definitely deserve to be there.
You have to take advantage, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, you paid for it. You have to take advantage of it. And there's loads of people that are at different stages, right? Like, how hard was it for you to get your first deal?
That was probably the hardest one. So
Yeah,
but you
right?
just have to push through, and you have to be around other people that are talking about getting their first deal as well, so you can see that you're not really on your own. And then when you do finally get that first deal and you're gonna have a lot of questions, that's when you need to be in the mastermind more than ever, because you're surrounded by people answering these questions or going through it themselves as well.
Yeah. How do you overcome objections for pitching rent to HMO to a landlord? First, do you go to the agent directly or to the landlord?
All my deals have been direct to landlords.
And how did you find them?
So we started on open rent.
Yeah.
They're all different landlords. However, I'm kind of dealing with the same individual.
Okay.
Because
well,
I
that's
built
good.
a relationship with basically one of the brothers deals with, it's a family that they own a lot of houses on the street. They basically own the whole street.
Great. I love those kind of families.
And I just deal with one of the brothers. He's amazing. We hit it off that one first time, and now he just brings me all the properties first before he offers them to anyone else, before he puts them on
That's
with
so
agents.
brilliant.
So
So
that's the power of building relationships. That's the last lesson I'll say. Your relationships are the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Building rapport.
Yeah.
Right. And Samuel teaches us how to build that rapport, how to ask questions, be engaged, and be genuinely engaged, right? Which is, it's a difficult thing for some people, especially in this day and age where everything is immediate and our attention span is so short, right?
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah. But did that landlord even know what rent to rent was when you pitched it, or were they familiar? Were they savvy?
He's quite a seasoned investor, so he had a good idea of what it was.
Yeah.
But I've also come across landlords that have no idea what it is, but they are open to listening to it as long as you can put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
It's easy to convince them once you're sold yourself,
Yes.
because
that's
it is definitely a win-win for them.
Yeah.
You just need to know how to position it for them that way.
Right. And you're sold, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And what can a landlord benefit from doing a rent to HMO with you?
Oh, the landlord's having the easiest time. He doesn't have to worry about rent coming in. It's consistent for like 5 years. That's how long we've locked in all my deals for.
Nice.
5 years, the rent is consistent. We take care of a certain portion of the maintenance. We take care of the bills. And yeah, he doesn't have to worry about anything. He doesn't have to worry about tenants. It's quite easygoing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I didn't realize how much he valued our relationship until I walked away from the 12-bed deal this year.
Oh, tell
because
me about that.
Yeah, he was just asking for too much, and I was starting to feel I was speaking to Jeremy about it a lot, actually.
Jeremy, the
gave
mentor.
me the most advice.
Oh, shout out Jeremy Grigg.
Yes, Jeremy, could not have done it without you. But I literally was, I was having calls with him and I was saying, I'm the worst negotiator. I need help. I can't do this. And he was recommending books to read and just trying to coach me through it all. And eventually I was just like, the landlord's not budging. I can't convince him to come down on the rent. Can't convince him to come down on the deposit. I think I'm just going to walk away and see what happens. And when I walked away, he didn't get back to me for about a week because he was on holiday, and that was like a long week. And then he got back to me and he said, well, we're happy to reconsider everything. How about we keep the figures as they are? Because he was really adamant on keeping the figures as they were, but he wanted to then spread out the cost. That was actually his idea. Spread out the cost of the deposit. And he was happy to give me the furniture for free, all the furniture that was already included. Now, it wasn't furniture that I would have purposely chose myself. However, the rooms are renting with them in there, and it would cost a lot to furnish a 12-bed property, especially when there's 4 kitchens in there.
Oh, my lanta.
And you got to the fridges and basically all the white goods. That would have cost me so much money.
Yeah.
And it was just like, keep everything in there.
Okay. So that sounds like you negotiated a really good deal.
Yeah. But that's because I was prepared to walk away.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. And that was purely because of Jeremy.
And you know what? If the deal didn't stack the way it was presented anyways, so you had to walk away, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't going to work. But that's really great that he respected you enough to renegotiate his side of it, right? To make it attractive, which also means he gets it and he wants you to succeed.
Yeah.
which is good because you have to work together, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of landlords, when it comes to these HMOs, they wanna go with social housing providers, that sort of thing. But he had that option, and he said he would prefer to go with me because he knows from the standard I've been looking after his properties in the past that they'll be given back in a better condition than when he's worked with his social housing providers.
Oh.
Just because they say they're going to look after the property and give it back in the same condition doesn't mean they always do.
Right.
And he was very much aware of that because he's been doing this a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just have to be around the right landlord will get it. You just
Yeah.
have to ask enough people.
That's it. Numbers game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And where do you find your tenants?
SpareRoom.
Okay.
I get most of them on SpareRoom.
Yeah.
I do get some people, now that I've been doing it in the same area for a while now, I do get some leads from old contacts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The landlord that I deal with for the different properties also passes me leads as well because they've been renting houses there from the 80s.
Wow.
So yeah, I also work with a couple of charities and housing associations that might have people transitioning that have just got work.
Okay.
And then transitioning into having to be in like more permanent accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
So I cherry pick from them as well. So now I've got like a nice little list of places to get tenants from.
Well, good. So if somebody wanted to get started in property, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, coming from someone that had no idea about anything, I would say get some education because you think you know, but you don't know. There's so many different strategies, so many different ways that people are making money. You think you know, but you don't. So just get some education, go to the best because that's what you deserve. You deserve the best.
Yeah.
So that you know that you can trust where your information is coming from.
Was there ever a point where you wanted to give up?
No.
Oh,
No.
Okay, girl.
No.
No.
Surprisingly enough, no. I mean, I'm sure that day is going to come. But the mentors have made everything so easy so far. I'm sure I'm going to have a day where I'm going to be like, God, this is really hard.
Yeah.
But so far, they've made it really easy. Even when I've had really difficult times, having the support there has made it really simple.
How different would it be to run an HMO versus a hotel? Like, would you have staff in the hotel?
It would be very different. I think I would ideally want to run it as a hotel, but run it as service accommodation. So that would
Self-check-in.
Yeah, like self-check-in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that would require any sort of staff. It depends on what we're offering at the hotel. But ideally, we want to do like a self-check-in situation. So it's running with as little cost as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
When I went to Brighton's Inner Circle, they put me up at a hotel, which was self-check-in. And we got a code, like punch in the door thingy, the automatic door lock, get in, they'd say what room you're in, another punch pad key thing, in you go, and that's it. And then out you go. But yeah, everything, I didn't see any staff. And it was so easy. So yeah, you don't really need staff. If you've got a strong sort of security system with the keys and a strong cleaning team, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and clear instructions. You need clear instructions.
Absolutely, yes. When I stayed at Samuel's Willingham House.
How was that?
That was a really good experience. That was my first time staying at one of his hotels. So I can see how that was run. They did have a staff member there. We had Adam. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was all very much self-checkout, made it look really seamless. I'm sure there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than what I was seeing, but he made it look really seamless and easy. So I'm hoping that I can learn a lot from that and be able to experience it in the same way.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, that's the great thing about Samuel is because everything that he learns, he then incorporates into the training. And so we get to learn as he goes. So he learned how to do, buy, refurb, refinance, deal selling, rent to HMO. And so every step of the way, he just pushes all this new training on. And then commercial, development, hotels. And yeah, we just get to reap the benefits of him going out and, learning everything and then telling us how it all works, right? It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really, really is.
Mm-hmm. And now you're going to be a hotelier, right?
That's the dream. That is the dream. This year, we're hoping to maybe even partner with some investors.
There you go.
To be able to take on some properties like this.
Right.
And I know a lot of investors out there that would be excited about doing something like this as well. So we could learn together.
Yeah. There's lots of investors out there who don't have the time, don't have the inclination, don't have the training, and you have it all and the experience. So you can go out and find those really great deals, and then they can just invest in you and sit back and do whatever they want to do, right? And then you'll do all of the legwork. You're going to be the one running around.
That's it. The best bit.
That's
the
legwork. Oh, that's good.
Well, it really is, because once you learn that information once, I've got it in my head forever. So it actually is the best bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Stacey, for sitting down with us. It was really nice to get to know you better. I see you running around all the time, doing your crewing and helping and giving back and everything. So we're just so grateful from the Academy for all of your contribution. So please come down to a crash course and you can start your journey like Stacey has. It's only £1 and they have these every month all over the country. So start at the crash course. And again, if you want to see Stacey at her inner circle in Leeds, just send her a message on Instagram. It's Stacey Undermoo.
Stacey Undermoo.
And she can send you her guest pass to come to the inner circle in Leeds. And if you liked this, please give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment, and show us that it meant something to you. That would mean a lot to us. And we'll keep doing these every week. So we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you so much for having me. Have the best time.
Thanks.